Hello everyone, welcome to Alchemy IAS, the high five current affair briefing. ഇന്നത്തെ ഏറ്റവും ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻ്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ടോപ്പിക്സ് നമുക്ക് ജസ്റ്റ് ഒന്ന് ബ്രീഫ് ചെയ്യാം. അതിൽ ഫസ്റ്റ് ടോപ്പിക് നമുക്കുള്ളത് വിത്ത് റെസ്പെക്ട് ടു ദി വഖഫ് അമെൻഡ്മെന്റ് ആക്ട് ഓഫ് 2025. This act was enacted very recently to reform the Waqf board, Waqf properties in India, and this law was in controversy and this law was in debate due to this law would affect the religious freedom and freedom of managing the religious affairs under Article 26. And due to this reason, a case has been challenged in court of law. അതുമായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട ഒരു ന്യൂസ് ആണ് നമുക്ക് ഇന്നത്തെ ന്യൂസ് പേപ്പറിൽ കിട്ടിയിട്ടുള്ളത്. Based on the Hindu and Indian Express article, we have a news today that is mainly the major topic, that is Supreme Court interim order with respect to the Waqf Amendment Act of 2025. ഈ ജഡ്ജ്മെന്റിൽ the Supreme Court has stayed some of the provisions of the Waqf Amendment Act of 2025. If you are writing the prelims exam or mains exam in the next year, since this act is coming in the news and this is a new act, and because of this judgment related to this act, we can expect a question about this act and the latest reform and judgment about this case. That's why this topic is very relevant, that will comes under Indian polity and governance. What we have to study for the exam perspective is about what is Waqf. Mainly ഇസ്ലാമിക് റിലീജിയസ് കമ്മ്യൂണിറ്റീസിലാണ് ഈ ഒരു ടോപ്പിക് വരുന്നത്. എനി പ്രോപ്പർട്ടി ദാറ്റ് ബി ഡെഡിക്കേറ്റഡ് ഫോർ ദ റിലീജിയസ് ചാരിറ്റബിൾ ആക്ടിവിറ്റീസ്, ഡെഡിക്കേറ്റഡ് ഫോർ ദി ഗോഡ്, അത്തരത്തിലുള്ള പ്രോപ്പർട്ടീസിന് വിളിക്കുന്ന പേരാണ് ദ വഖഫ് പ്രോപ്പർട്ടീസ്. ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് മാനേജ്ഡ് ബേസ്ഡ് ഓൺ ദി പേഴ്സണൽ ലോ അണ്ടർ ദി ഇസ്ലാമിക് ലോ. And this property will be managed by a Waqf board. And this Waqf board was initially established under the Act of 1954 as part of a secularism and as part of the enactment of this law to protect the interest of this religious community, minority interest. Under Article this Act 1954 of this Act, we have established state level, central level body to manage this property. And for strengthening the management of this property and creating Waqf tribunal in order to settle the dispute related to this property, we have enacted another law, that is 1995, the Waqf Act. ഇപ്പൊ ഈ ഒരു പുതിയ ആക്ട്, ദ വഖഫ് അമെൻമെന്റ് ആക്ട് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഉമീദ് ആക്ട് ഓഫ് 2025 വാസ് an amendment to this act of 1995 വഖഫ് പ്രോപ്പർട്ടി. ഈ വഖഫ് പ്രോപ്പർട്ടിന്റെ ടോട്ടൽ അസറ്റ് ഏരിയ നമ്മൾ എടുക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ ദിസ് ഇസ് almost around 8.7 lakh of waqf properties, that is worth over rupees 1.2 lakh crore. That is also equal to the Waqf board had today about the third largest land ownership, that is after the Indian Railway and the Armed Forces. ഇത്തരത്തിൽ ഒരു ലാർജ് ഏരിയയുടെ മാനേജ്മെന്റ് കൺട്രോൾ വരുന്ന ഒരു ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻറ്റ് സിഗ്നിഫിക്കൻറ്റ് ബോഡിയും കൂടിയാണ് ഈ വഖഫ് ബോർഡ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. In order to ensure inclusivity in this board, including membership, they are Muslim women, and also we have inclusion of the non-Muslim to this body. These were the major reform through this Umeed Act, that is also called as Umeed Act, the Waqf Amendment Act of 2025. So this inclusivity include, we are adding non-Muslim member to the central and state Waqf board, and it has abolished earlier Waqf by user. That means any property was for long term was used for the charitable religious purpose. ഇത്തരത്തിൽ കുറെ കാലം ആ ഒരു പ്രോപ്പർട്ടി റിലീജിയസ് പർപ്പസിന് വേണ്ടിയിട്ടോ ചാരിറ്റബിൾ പർപ്പസിന് വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് യൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അത്തരം പ്രോപ്പർട്ടീസിന് വേണമെങ്കിൽ ബൈ വെർബലി ഓറലി നമുക്ക് എന്ത് ചെയ്യാം, വഖഫ് പ്രോപ്പർട്ടി ഡിക്ലെയർ ചെയ്യാമോ എന്നുള്ള ഒരു ഓൾഡ് ട്രഡീഷൻ നമുക്കുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. ഈ ഒരു പ്രാക്ടീസിനെ അബോളിഷ് ചെയ്യുന്ന തരത്തിലുള്ള റിഫോം ഈ ഒരു പുതിയ ആക്ടിന്റെ മറ്റൊരു പ്രത്യേകതയാണ്. ഇൻഹെറിറ്റൻസ് ഹാസ് ബീൻ ഗ്രാൻഡഡ് ടു വിമൻ ആൻഡ് ചിൽഡ്രൻ. A restriction is there, that is no waqf on tribal land. So we are protecting the interest of the tribal community under Scheduled 5 and Scheduled 6. And in terms of governance, only registration, stricter auditing, and especially levy reduced from 7% to 5% are the new provision under this law. But the criticism was there because this would interfere the minority right, the religious right. This would be conflict with the freedom of religion, particularly under Article 26, the freedom to manage the religious affairs, and also the minority interest that we can see under Article 29 and 30. These are the area that we have to revise. So this would intervene the minority religious rights and excessive government control by shifting power from the tribunal to official. If any dispute is there, according to this law was provided that district magistrate or district collector has authority to settle that dispute. This is overriding the power of the earlier Waqf tribunal. So removal of the Waqf by user was also criticized, and later that's the reason that this case has been challenged in court of law. With the judgment, Supreme Court said that some of the provisions of this law was arbitrary, even though this law is valid as per the constitution, as per the rule of law, but some of the provisions are arbitrary and these provision will be stayed back. So struck down, that is 5-year Islam practice. So it had made an eligibility. Those who practice this Islamic religion for the 5 years only will be considered as eligible person to declare an area as a Waqf property. This has been struck because there is no scientific, a logical way to verify a person is a believer or not, or practicing for this religion for the past 5 years. This is very difficult to identify and verify. That's the reason behind that. Declared the Section 3C unconstitutional because this is becoming an executive, that is cannot unilaterally seize a Waqf land. Deciding authority that cannot be taken by the executive. That is against the concept of the separation, the doctrine of separation of power. Then stressed only judiciary can decide the property ownership, not by the executive. And it has limited, that is in central council, it has fixed the limit that the non-Muslim should be 4 maximum in central Waqf council and 3 in state level Waqf boards. This is a limit that has been fixed. The CEO of the Waqf board should be preferably Muslims, and they prevented a third party transfer until the tribunal decision. This is also the judgment that the court has been intervened in this particular case. These major changes are important, and the conclusion part, the essence part, that we can also give an example of the role of judiciary when any law that is in conflict with the interest of the minority, that had an imbalance in protecting the right of them. So then the judiciary coming in place, when they evaluate this law, if there is an imbalance in ensuring the rights and the legal provision, so the Supreme Court in this case ensured a balanced community rights and the state interest in this particular law. This is such an example that we can give in our main perspective, the role of judiciary in ensuring balancing the community minority interest, at the same time the state interest of reforming this law, since in some of the provision it was in conflict. So this is the first topic that we have, that is also important for the polity and governance perspective. The second topic that we have for the high-fi, that for the today current affair briefing, that is with respect to the cheetah reintroduction projects. The cheetah projects. It's part of the conservation effort, and this authority we have under this initiative, National Tiger Conservation Authority. And this cheetah reintroduction program is very important for our exam perspective. It has started in 2022. The significant reason behind launching this program was because of we had earlier cheetah, and this cheetah was extinct in India in 1952. After 70 years of identifying the extinction of this species, that is Asiatic cheetah, and this is extinct in 1952. Later, through launching the project Cheetah, we started reintroducing the cheetah. For that reason, we have brought the cheetah from Namibia and South Africa, really African cheetahs, and they have been shifted from Namibia and South Africa to India in Kuno National Park, and 29 cheetah were reintroduced for conservative effort under these projects. But unfortunately, because of the death of this cheetah that we reintroduced in this national park, and now we are going to start the second phase of conservation effort and reintroduction of this cheetah project to the another important national park. This location of the national parks are important for our exam perspective. So now we are going to reintroduce and the second phase into the Gandhi Sagar Wildlife Sanctuary. Earlier, we were introduced this into the Kuno. Both these are the national park sanctuaries located in state of Madhya Pradesh. Madhya Pradesh is also state that we have seen the large number of wildlife sanctuaries and national park. In these states, we have Gandhi Sagar Wildlife Sanctuary sharing the border with Rajasthan. So now we are going to reintroduce the cheetah in this region. For exam perspective as an aspirant, what we have to focus is to study the project Cheetah, the reintroduction project, has started in 2022. But unfortunately, because of the some setback that we had, because there is a critical challenge would be there when we reintroduce the cheetah, whether our climate, whether our conditions, this eco-sensitive area, are this capable for the cheetah to conserve? This is a challenge that we had. And when we introduced, you can see that in 2022 when we started, 8 cheetah from Namibia and 12 from the South Africa was introduced and brought to this Kunu National Park. But the setback was 8 adult cheetah, 5 the cubes were died so far as per the data. Later, the cheetah project steering committee has been set up by the National Tiger Conservation Authority (NTCA) in 2023, and they suggested also shifting the Kuru National Park to the next park, that we have the Gandhi Sagar Wildlife Sanctuary. This has been the park identified will be the most suitable park for conserving and reintroducing the cheetah project. So this Gandhi Sagar Wildlife Sanctuary is an important national park or sanctuary is important for our exam perspective. Both are located in MP and sharing the border with Rajasthan. At present, we have 26 cheetah in Kuno and 70 in wild and 9 in enclosure. And this source has been relocated and yet to be decided. These are the important points that we have to study. Apart from this news, we also should study for the environmental perspective about the species, because UPSC has a trend of asking question about the character, behavior, the features of this animal and the species. For that reason, we have to study about these features like breeding, the maturity of female and male cheetah, gestation period, behavior also. Sometimes this kind of questions will be focused in the prelims examination. Solitary, they mark territory by urine spraying. So these kind of character, behavior, features we have to focus. This is one of the fastest land animal that we already know about that. These features, the characteristics of animal is also important for our exam perspective. The next aspects when we study about the cheetah, we should also understand the conservation status as per the IUCN. IUCN status is important. It's currently recognized as identified as vulnerable as per the India's Schedule 2 of Wildlife Protection Act, and site it has been listed under the Appendix 1. These are also high recognized species under higher trade protection, higher protection. Then when we study about the cheetah, we have to study two type of cheetah. One is African and another one is Asiatic. The characteristics of the both Asiatic and African cheetah and the difference between the two is also important. At the same time, നമ്മൾ മറ്റു പഠിക്കേണ്ട മറ്റൊരു point ആണ് the status as per the IUCN. African cheetah status as per the IUCN status, this is vulnerable. As per the IUCN status, the Asiatic cheetah status is critically endangered. These are the point also relevant for our exam perspective. Moving on to the third topic that we have today is with respect to a term, a judicial term, that is anticipatory bail. This is based on the Hindu explained page in text and context, that is dealing with and discussing about the Supreme Court judgment verdict regarding the anticipatory bail under the Caste and Scheduled Tribal Community Atrocities Act related to caste abuse, caste cases. In this kind of criminal cases, whenever any person is accused, and they will not be granting this anticipatory bail. And this was the latest news that we have in this article. It is discussing about the Supreme Court has quashed and overrided the Bombay High Court judgment that has granted anticipatory bail to an accused in the caste-based assault case under the SC/ST Atrocities Act. So now we'll understand more about this particular term. For prelims perspective, what is important is what is mean by what is actually refers what is mean by the anticipatory bail. Bail itself is important. Bail has been granted to bail will be used to usually will be granted to a person who is accused in a particular cases. Here we don't know whether the person is innocent or guilty of that offense. And the in our Indian judicial system, we cannot punish any innocent person. Even if thousands offenders has been punished, no innocent person should be punished. This protection we enjoy. That's the reason that so we can take these cases. We have different types of offenses are classified into bailable and non-bailable offenses. Even in these cases, bails are classified into different type like statutory or regular bail, anticipatory bail, interim bail. This kind of terms, these types of terms, this judicial term can expect. We can expect this kind of question related to these terms in our prelims examination. For that reason, if these terms are coming in news like anticipatory bail, we can expect. Anticipatory bail means Before arresting in such cases, the accused person seeking a release of or preventing their arrest or seeking for preventing arrest and custody, then they are seeking in the court of law is called as anticipatory bail. Anticipating an arrest, before arresting they are seeking a release. This is the term refers to anticipate. This is the term that is mean by the anticipatory bail. Anticipatory bail refers to the pre-arrest bail. There be protections granted in advance to prevent arrest. But when we refer to this law, as per the SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act of 1989, we can see that this section 18 explicitly barred the anticipatory bail. This is to protect the victim, those who face this kind of atrocities. So in order to protect the victim from intimidation, ensure effective prosecution and justice to be delivered properly, fairly, for that reason in this law we have made this provision very strictly that explicitly bar anticipatory bail. So court has been viewed in this particular case and currently it has barred granting anticipatory bail. If you look at the background of this case, the case has been reported and filed in November 2024 by Kiran against Rajkumar Jain in a caste abuse case, atrocities case. And the trial history, even if you are referring to that, the session court initially has rejected the anticipatory bail. Later, the Bombay High Court has granted the anticipatory bail. Finally, has reached the Supreme Court. Supreme Court overturned the High Court order. That way, this news was in the news and explained in that page. So, what is important for us is about anticipatory bail, and also we can also study about SC/ST Atrocities Act. The fourth topic that we have today is a campaign initiative. It is part of the social justice, social sector, and governance initiative. For promoting women and child health care, this campaign is going to launch from tomorrow onwards, September 17. So central government, the Prime Minister is going to launch this initiative, this campaign that is starting from the September 17 to the October 2. This program campaign name is Swasth Nari, the Sashakt Parivar Abhiyan. This will be aligned with the Poshan Ma. So this will start from September 17 with the launch this campaign. Sometime in prelims examination, if any campaign, any schemes, portal was mentioned in the news, they will ask. Like Swasth Nari Sashakt Parivar Abhiyan was recently mentioned in the news related to. This is a campaign for promoting women and child health care mobilization campaign. It's going to launch soon. This will be jointly by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Women and Child Development, integrated with the Poshan Ma Nutrition Initiative 2025. And this achieve early detection and timely treatment of non-communicable diseases, cancer, TB, and so on. And it would promote nutritional awareness and menstrual hygiene and healthy lifestyle. So this is also will help us to achieve our objective under sustainable development goals. So we can integrate and just have an awareness about this initiative for our exam perspective. The last one that we have for today is about the Frontier 50 initiative. It is an initiative launched by the Niti Aayog as part of our Vikits program for the 2047 Amardakal initiative, Vikits Bharat program. Recently also Niti Aayog launched an AI for our the future visionary program achieving Viksit Bharat initiative. This is another one that is Frontier 50 initiative. This is again part of the governance that we can say, and it can also be integrated to the rural urban development and also can be integrated with the economic development and growth and different areas as per the relevance of the question. Niti Aayog announced this initiative Frontier 50 is going to implement in a frontier technology solution to the already we have identified aspirational districts around 120 115 plus districts. So here we have identified some backward areas, regions, these district level, decentralized level. Then we will invest and prioritize and focus for the inclusive development of this region. Here, as a pilot level projects, through this initiative, this will be identifying the 50 aspirational districts and blocks, and we will ensure a fast tracking India's march towards the biggest Bharat 2047. This initiative, we should have an awareness what is mean by the Frontier 50 initiative and who has started. It has started launched by a flagships program of the Niti Aayog that would deploy a frontier technology of AI, IoT, and drones and blockchains in 50 aspiration districts. We have more than 100 districts under this aspect district program of the Niti Aayog. So for service better improvement, delivery, productivity, citizens well-being and welfare. So this is launched by the Niti Aayog. The objective include fast track adoption of proven frontier technical uses of the cases, and then we'll achieve saturation of the government services that will be delivered properly in including health, education, skilling and welfare services, and bridging the digital development divide in especially underserved regions by 2040. We have to integrate the technology, and that should reach at the grassroots level, at the decentralization level, at the bottom level. So the Niti Aayog policy perspective is also shifted. Earlier, planning commission was top-to-down approach. Now the Niti Aayog primary focus is bottom-to-top approach. So the program is specifically focusing on the regional development and identifying the underdeveloped regions and focusing on the technological integration that can resolve many gaps that we have in all the public services, and that we can finally benefit the citizen to have welfare. So that is an objective of the Frontier initiative. And the key features also include the 50 pilot district will be identified in these blocks, and it will use case deployments, that is each districts and block to select priority use cases in agriculture, health, education and livelihood. And capacity building will be the focus, especially local administration will be trained to scale up the technological adaptation. It also will integrate the public-private partnership as part of the good governance in collaboration with the startup industries and academia for creating a better solution. And it will also integrate monitoring and outcome oriented focus, and here it will define the measure service delivery and standard. Ultimately we'll assess the impact, how it has benefited the citizens and replicability across the India. So this is the focus of the Frontier 50 initiative in India. These are the major 5 topic of the day. I hope you have just got the idea and briefing about this relevant topic. Just we will revise again. The first topic that we had was the Waqf Amendment Act of 2025. The second topic of the day was the cheetah reintroduction project. The second phase is going to start now, and the location of the national park and the that is Gandhi Sagar Wildlife Sanctuary is important in this context. And the third topic that we studied about the judicial term anticipatory bail, that is also relevant for our exam perspective, especially for the prelims. And also we mentioned about SC/ST Atrocities Act in this context. Then the fourth topic that we studied about a campaign for the child and women health mobilization campaign. So, so that is also important. Then the last one we had the Frontier 50 initiative of the Niti Aayog. This initiative launched by Niti Aayog for the inclusive growth development and providing better service standard for the citizens ultimately. I hope you will revise this content, and you can also post to make the note based on this. And thank you for watching this video.